have been searching for answers to questions such as, why is there something instead of nothing? What is the meaning of life? Is there a God? And why is it so difficult to open milk cartons? They have turned to books such as the Holy Bible, the Quran, the Torah and, of course, Chicken Soup for the Soul, for answers. Only one group is brave enough to stand up and say, we don't know the answers, and we have a hunch the rest of you don't either. These people call themselves agnostics. It is an inspiring word that means I haven't a clue whether or not God exists, or if he does exist, what kinds of food he doesn't want me to eat. Finally, after centuries of waiting, without realizing they were agnostics, have a text of their own. It is a work that takes all of that accumulated ignorance and compiles it into a singular tome called the Agnostic Bible. This is the story of how it came to be. It was the year 2013 AD, in the agnostic Holy Land of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Edward E. Plattsburgh became the, somewhat unwilling, leader of the so-called Polites, a fringe group of neo-orthodox fundamentalist agnostics. The Polites believed in a strict interpretation of agnosticism, which held that there may, or may not be a God, referred to as GOSH, an acronym for God or some hallucination. These agnostics say, we don't know if there's a God, but we also don't rule out that someone else does, so we should probably keep our options open. While in Winnipeg, Ed suffered 2 revelations and some kind of rash. The first revelation came to him as a kind of vision, specifically television, even more specifically the Ed Wood movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
It's so important that you want to contact the governments of our Earth. Because of death. Because all you of Earth are idiots.
Ed saw then that truth of this, that indeed the people of Earth are idiots. He counted himself among them, but figured at least he could seek someone else who wasn't. The second revelation was that Ed noticed a pervasive common theme in the world's religions, the idea of a chosen people. The chosen people motif was so common, Ed decided that there might be something to it. The problem, he noticed, was that every religious ethnic group always seemed to believe it was themselves. This seemed a bit too convenient. Also, they couldn't all be right. This discrepancy also had a tendency to cause occasional differences of opinion between the groups, called holy wars. If the polite agnostics were certain of one thing, it was that they, on the other hand, were definitely not the chosen people. After all, they lived in Winnipeg, so just no. Consequently, they decided to dedicate themselves to finding out who the chosen people were, as well as any possible messiah or messiahs along the way. The plan was to then ingratiate themselves in the hope of bandwagoning their way into heaven, or at least not hell. Over time, agnosticism grew, as the new millennia proved to be a boom time for ignorance. As Ed wrote in his Bible, never have so many, known so little, about so much. Or is it the other way around? More and more people were opening their eyes to the fact that leaders, the world over, were just making it all up as they go along. If there was a divine plan, it was clear no one had read it. Thanks to the internet and social media, we could finally be familiar with each other in a way that truly breeds contempt. Then in 2018, a miracle happened. Coinciding with the COVID-19 plague that was clearly either an act of divine retribution, or the result of someone eating a bat, a new religious text was uncovered. During excavations in his home office, possibly looking for a bag of Doritos, Ed began to piece together several fragments of texts. These scraps of writing became the foundation for something of truly biblical proportions, which according to research is usually 6 by 9 inches. He called this work the Agnostic Bible, making it the most awkwardly named theological text since then, and the art of motorcycle maintenance.
Sure. Well, I mean, many people have asked who the heck is Ed Plattsburgh to write a book purporting to tell the truth about the universe. And the truth of the matter is that that's just not what this book is about. I mean, Ed's asked that same question himself. He doesn't claim to be chosen by God because Ed's not sure that God exists. Ed's not sure that Ed exists. Yeah, so Ed looked at who actually wrote holy texts, and it turns out basically almost none of them had graduate degrees. Jesus technically didn't write the Bible, but he was a carpenter, and Muhammad was notoriously illiterate, which kind of makes you wonder how that worked exactly. But the point is that it's really Ed's lack of qualifications that make him the most qualified person for writing a holy book.
By this point, Ed had already authored a book that had changed the world, literally. He had written the West-East Winnipeg Collegiate World Atlas, which omitted the country of Bulgaria. As a result, Romania bordered Turkey and Serbia. Ed took full responsibility for the error and apologized. Fortunately, no one noticed. Because, the truth is, no one cares about Bulgaria. Not even Bulgarians. The Agnostic Bible takes readers on a journey. It's a tour through world history, myth, religion, and Ed's home office.
Yeah, so when Ed first asked me to help him with his Bible, he asked me if I was ready to accept Jesus into my life. And I said no. And he said, well, how about a bunch of pre-Socratic philosophers?
The Agnostic Bible looks at beliefs from Greece, to the Middle East, to Africa, China, India, North America, South America, and some remote islands somewhere or another whose names we've forgotten. It also uncovers never-before-seen ancient texts, in the form of the Epic of Ironicles, who doubted the existence of the gods. Ironicles also questioned the Trojan War and thought that sending thousands to fight over a tawdry affair was a bad idea. He was consequently tossed overboard by the hero Odysseus. From there, it neatly segues into topics like nihilism, quantum physics, dark matter, and why we're here, and you're there, and that which is neither here nor there. In other words, the meaning, or lack thereof, of life.
Well, I mean, I asked Ed what he thought people could get out of the Agnostic Bible, and he said, maybe a sense of peace and tranquility in these troubled modern times. And I guess I must have looked skeptical, because then he said to me, you know how people say that ignorance is bliss? And I said, sure. He said, well, I'm a pretty happy guy. And you know what? I believe him.
Never has there been a book more suited to its time than this one. A book that finally dares to reveal the truth of everything. Truth of everything not included in free sample. Truth of everything is subject to terms and agreements, and is not available in Florida or Texas. Satisfaction not guaranteed. Oh sure, there have been Bibles before, the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Bible, the Plumber's Bible. The word Bible after all just means the books, which of course means that the books of the Bible means the books of the books. Thankfully, the Agnostic Bible is now available to everyone. Yes, even to you, for one, relatively low price. So visit agnosticbible.com today to learn more.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this work is aimed squarely at readers of books such as Being and Nothingness, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Highlights Magazine, Tao of Pooh maybe,